The number one question that I get asked is, what are my favorite pens and the best pens to use in the Hobonichi planners? Okay, so I personally think that the best pens to use in the Hobonichi planners can be a little bit subjective because you're going to have to take into account a couple of key factors. Like, are you a lefty? Are you a righty? Can you spare an extra 5 to 10 seconds for some ink to dry? Some people cannot. But for the purpose of today's video, I'm going to share some of my favorites, some of my not so favorites, and a few of the pens that you guys have asked me to try multiple times in comments, messages, DMs, everything in between. We're gonna try out a whole bunch of pens. So you're gonna wanna grab some coffee, tea, maybe a little wine, depending on the time of day that you're watching this video. And we're gonna take a look at some pens in the Hobonichi planner. Now, one of the things I definitely want to keep in mind is that there recently was a change to the Hobonichi paper that has not yet affected all of their planners. For example, the Weeks and their notebooks still have the old Tomoe River paper, while the new Tomoe River paper is in the current Hobonichi Cousin planner and the Classic. So we're gonna take a look, and while I don't think that there's going to be that much difference, it's going to be interesting to see. So I'm gonna turn the camera around, let's get started. Okay, so I've grabbed quite a few pens here, and I really tried to keep everything categorized by your standard like gel and ballpoint, and then a few markers that I thought would be interesting to try. I mean, there's gonna be quite a few pens to try here. I'm gonna reach for the ballpoint right away. Reason being is I kind of want to make like a little chart. Actually, I'm gonna letter the top of this thing. I told you guys we're gonna be here a minute. But I am excited to try out some of these pens and just kind of, we're gonna do some smudge testing. So the thing about the Tomoe River paper, in my opinion, and just so you know which book I'm using, I am using my 2024 Hobonichi Cousin. So I'm gonna sacrifice a couple of pages for that because I typically forget that these pages even exist. That was my Tombow Fudinasuke. I always, you know what it is, the brush pen. So I think that what we'll do here is that we will do sort of like 3 columns, and this isn't going to be perfect, but we will write the name of the pen, and then what do we want to do? We could even do a highlighter test if we wanted to. Do we want to do a highlighter test? Let's do a highlighter test. We'll do a name, no wait, because some people don't even have time to wait for their pen to dry, and then highlighter test. So essentially where I write the name will probably be our weight area. Maybe I should have made a 4th column, I don't know. But this is the ballpoint pen, and ballpoint is not going to smudge. So this is the Uni Jetstream, and I know that this is an extremely popular pen in the Hobonichi Cousin. Main reason, it is lefty friendly. I'm not a lefty, as you can see, I'm a righty. But the main reason is most of the Uni Jetstreams are a multi-pen. So this one has black, blue, green, red, as well as a pencil function. But the big thing is that it does not, it doesn't smudge, and it's just, I don't know. It's a great pen. It's not for me for a couple of reasons. So if I could get it a little bit closer, you can see that there is no smudging there. And then if we highlight over it, I'm trying to get my thoughts together. For the purpose of this video, I'm just going to use the gray mild liner and just highlight right over it. Now, this is a great pen for this reason as well. You're going to be able to highlight immediately over what you've written with. So my issue with ballpoint, okay, is that it's not pigmented enough, and you'll see that in the upcoming pens that I test out. So there is ballpoint, an oldie but goodie. It's a great pen. Let me keep my highlighter close by. I don't know why I have a white pen in there. It's not gonna show up. All right, let's get into an erasable pen. So this is the Friction Pilot. This is the Synergy in 0.5. Another recommendation, if I could make one, is to basically stick to 0.5 or 0.38. I feel like 0.7, you're gonna be waiting a long time for the ink to dry. To be quite honest, I've never used a Pilot Friction in here, but this is how that looks. This is the Pilot Friction. Am I even spelling this right? No, I'm not. It's okay. We can erase it. All right, let's do the Pilot Friction with no weight. This has me scared. Whoops, I spelled it wrong. Does that matter? I don't know. Should we test out erasing it? Oh, okay. Let's erase and write the N over again. Whoops. Oh, it doesn't want to write over the erased part of the, it doesn't smudge. I was not aware. This is new information. That's kind of cool. All right, so I don't know why my brain doesn't like the way Pilot Friction is written. Just the word friction, honestly. Highlights well, okay. So this is actually a pen that I like. I'm not really big on erasable pens, but I'm kind of like, wow, I was not expecting that. Okay, all right, that's good. Okay, so let's move into, honestly, this is one of my all-time top favorite pens to use in the Hobonichi, and it is the Sarasa Mark-On in 0.5. I love this pen so freaking much. I honestly feel like anything by Sarasa is not going to let you down. Now, I also feel like the 0.5 writes like a 0.7, in my opinion. So if you want that 0.7 look, but you really prefer 0.5, this is probably going to be your favorite. Is it the prettiest of pens? Absolutely not. All right, now let's do a little no weight time. And the reason why I'm doing no weight is for our lefties in the chat, okay? This is what you're getting with the Sarasa Mark-On with 0 weight. That is not extremely disappointing. So that's, I would, if I had to do a scale of 1 to 10, I would say that that's a 7.5. All right, now let's do some highlighter over it. I'm not spelling anything right, and that's just gonna be okay. That's what happens when I talk and write at the same time. Now, mild liner, Sarasa, Zebra, like same family. I have a feeling that this will work just fine, and it really did. Looks a little bit darker there, so maybe it did drag some of the ink a little bit, but it didn't smudge it, so that is kind of key. All right, now, I also never highlight over anything. I'm a highlight first and then write. I know for some people, they're like, yeah, that doesn't work for me, and I get that, but if you absolutely need to highlight on top, that's why I think the highlighter test is a little bit important. All right, so let's see if I've got anything else from Sarasa. I do have, oh, the Uniball Signo. That is also a good one. Let's go with that one, Uniball Signo, but this is in the 307. I can't remember if that means it's a 0.7 or not. But this is one that I've absolutely loved on other papers. It is a juicy pen. I'm a little concerned. Let's see what happens with no weight. Oh, okay, that's nice. I feel like I haven't tried this before specifically on my Hobonichi, but let's highlight over it and see what happens. What happens next? I think it's gonna be okay. Oh no, it's not. I'm gonna need, let's see, I'm gonna need a notebook to clean off my marker so it doesn't mess up any other. But that was not, ooh, that's a no-go. That's, nope. And I'll make sure to also post this page probably somewhere on my socials over the next couple of days, but that was a no for me. Okay, the Precise V7 by Pilot, also a favorite. I feel like I've used this multiple times in here, but this is a 0.7. So I don't think that this is going to be a very nice, this is not going to be good. No, that definitely, that's why I say stay away from the 0.7s, but that's my own experience. You might like it if you can wait and you don't have to worry about smudging. I think it'll dry just fine. Clearly, I need to keep cleaning off my highlighter, but that is not great on this paper and not great to highlight over if you need to do things fairly quickly, in my opinion. All right, let's move on now that I've cleaned my highlighter off. What else do we have in here? So I grabbed a couple of the Uniball, the Uni 1. I grabbed a 0.38 and a 0.5. I love these. I love these so much. I've been raving about them for the past few weeks. They also have this like super cute, like shorter, chubbier version as well. So I'm not going to test that one out because it's literally the same pen, just in a different body. But I cannot get enough of these. I've loved both. I think that they're both going to do great on here. So let's go Uni 1, and this is the 0.5. Now let's see how it does with smudging. That's not bad. That's not bad. So we already know that the Uni 1 and 0.38 is going to be just fine, but let's see what it does being highlighted. Oh, okay, so there is a little bit of a smudge there, but not as bad as the previous two, if you can see that, just a little bit towards the end. But I bet if I had waited like another, I don't know, 2 seconds, we would have been just fine. Let's try the Uni 1 and the 0.38. These are all gel, by the way. I feel like I forgot to say that. I am just a gel person through and through. I think that this is going to be the most lefty-friendly gel pen in my personal opinion. The Uniball 1 and 0.38 is where it's at. That literally not a single smudge. Now let's see what it does with highlighter. I'm sure it's gonna be just fine. Perfect. And it looks really good. In my opinion, their 0.38 looks like a 0.5. But those are just my thoughts. Now let's try another favorite that I've used plenty of times before, and this is another Sarasa, but this is the Sarasa Dry Drift Grip in 0.5. I believe I purchased this from Cloth and Paper. It's one of their more popular pens. You can get it with a white body, a black body, this clear body. They're all the same, just different bodies. So let's do this one. This is the Sarasa, and this is another juicy one for being 0.5. Writes really, really well, super pigmented. Oh, that's good. That is good for a 0.5. Oh, I feel like I need to show that one off a little bit because it's a little bit more like a 0.7. Now let's see how it does with highlighter. Again, I feel like any of the Sarasas are a good combination with mild liner, but we will see. Oh, that's good. That is good. This is definitely a top one. If you really need something that has a bit of a thicker body with a nice grip, just because, you know, holding on to tinier pens is not always the easiest thing to do, this is gonna be a great pen. I think you can get them on Amazon as well, but Cloth and Paper is a great resource as well. This has been kind of a popular pen recently. This is the Zebra Blend. Now, I believe that this is in 0.5. Yes, it is. And I like this pen, but it is a very, very wet pen. So let's just try it out first. We got these at, oh, and this is their Ballpoint. I can already tell you that this is not their gel. This is not their gel. The Zebra Blend in 0.5. I had actually ordered this one by accident, thinking it was gel, and they are not all gel, so there's not really gonna be a lot of smudging with this one. It's gonna be your typical ballpoint on this paper, so it's going to work just fine without any smudging or anything like that. I'll have to see if I can find one that is gel. Again, it's ballpoint. If you need ballpoint, if you prefer ballpoint, this is a good ballpoint, but I would say probably these two are the best contenders for ballpoint, the Uni Jetstream and the Zebra Blend. This is another Sarasa Dry. This is in 0.4. I feel like it's going to be very similar to the Sarasa Dry in 0.5 that was in the Drift Grip. I think the Drift Grip is just honestly the body style, so it's not really going to make that much of a difference. But just to kind of show you how the Sarasa Dry, I'm forgetting letters here, does on this paper, it's not going to have any issues. This is also another great one. Now let's see how it does with the highlighter. No issues at all. Sarasa Dry can definitely recommend. Honestly, any of the Sarasas are gonna be great. All right, so everyone remember this pen, the Sharpie S Gel, the death grip that this pen had on the planner community was pretty wild in my opinion. And I feel like it fizzled out quickly because something happened with the formula of this pen. I have zero insider knowledge of any of this, but I feel like the first few packages of this pen that I bought, they were phenomenal. And then a few months down the road, I want to say like 6 months or so down the road, they just went to crap and they were goopy and whatever. But I thought I would include this in here because I know that they're still wildly popular with a lot of people in our community. And, you know, I mean, I could be pleasantly surprised. I don't know. See, it's not even writing consistently for me, so already I'm not a fan. So that's going to be an issue for me personally. It's not bad. It's going to need longer to dry. That was not pleasant. It also feels kind of sticky. Let's see. Now let's see how it does with some highlighter on top. Oh, wow, that was actually quite shocking. I was not expecting it to do that well because it did smudge, but I think it, honestly, the smudging you can see comes from like the bottom of the L, the bottom of the E. So it's like that last little goopiness of the ink is what takes a little bit longer to dry. So if you prefer the Sharpie S Gel and you really want to continue to use it and you're moving into a Hobonichi planner, I say stick with it if it's working for you. Just be a little bit patient with it. Okay, next up is another Sarasa pen that I actually really like, and this is the Zebra Sarasa R in 0.4. Now, I will say this, anytime they make a 0.4 in Sarasa, I feel like it's closer to a 0.5 or a 0.7. It just really depends, but I really like this pen. And again, no issues with smudging whatsoever. So it's gonna be great if you need that zero drying time. And of course it works great with the highlighter. That is freaking awesome. There are a lot of great options. I feel like a lot of people are very apprehensive about getting into any of the Hobonichi books because they're like, everything smudges. And while that could be the case depending on the pen that you use, as you can see, not everything smudges. Okay, so now another popular pen is the Villa Beautiful pens. These are like pens that are more like, I don't want to say just for staging photos. They're obviously great for more than that, but they are a really pretty pen. They do come in gel. I believe a couple years ago they upgraded the gel that was in here, but I don't use this quite as often. I actually might have to warm this one up. There we go. But it is a really beautiful pen, and I'm not sure the nib size on this. A little bit of smudging. Now I will say, I don't know if it's because this pen is a little bit older, the ink is not quite as black as I personally need it to be. I love black ink to my core. So I don't know, it feels watered down almost. Now let's see how it does with some highlighter on top. Oh, that was not the greatest. So if you're going to use the Villa Beautiful pen, consider highlighting first, and then you can go in and write on top of it. Okay, now let's try a Pilot G2. I know it's blue. You guys are probably like, what the heck? But it's all I have in the Pilot G2, and it's a 0.7. I don't think oh gosh, writing in blue is so weird, you guys. If you love blue pen, I love it for you. Okay, not the greatest, but you know what this tells me? The 0.5 is probably going to be your best bet, and the 0.38 is going to be even better. Let's try highlighting on top of it. I'm a little worried. Oh no. That literally turned into watercolor, and I might have to go get another mild liner. Let's see if I can get all the color off of my marker. Okay, there we go. That was not great. Definitely not great. Again, some highlighters and pens may combine well on other papers. Like I feel like this would not have been the same reaction on Erin Condren paper, but papers are different. They're made different. The way they absorb ink and marker is different, and their drying time is different. All right, so one of the things that I really wanted to try in here, and I will flip the page and show you the bleed through and everything after this, is trying just different types of markers, because I know that we all just don't use pen, we use marker. So I love the dot marker. It's gonna kind of be hard to do any sort of smudge test on here. But the dot marker from Zig Clean Color Dot is something that I use pretty much every day, and I haven't actually had any issues with it smudging, but again, I would never really do that. I would never do that in my Hobonichi. I would literally be putting like dots down, and I probably wouldn't be touching them again. So this is going to be one of those markers that's more about how it's used, not that it is used, if that makes sense. And then we'll check the bleed through on the other side here shortly. Another favorite is the Zig Clean Color Real Brush pen. This is in, or marker I should say, this is in the color beige or brick beige. Haven't used this one a whole lot, but markers like this, they're going to smudge if you rub your hand all over them. I don't really think that that's the intent of using them, but just for the purpose of this video, getting marker all over my hands is what we do. But just to kind of show you what the smudging is like on that. Now, obviously, one of my favorites is the Tombow, is it Fudenosuke? Y'all, I can't pronounce it. It's their brush pen. It comes in hard and soft. I typically use this one, which I believe is the hard. The silver, if it's got the silver brush, I believe it's hard. If it's gold, it is the soft. And I'm just writing all over myself. Okay, so this is the Tombow. And I can tell that this is one that I have not broken in, and it's killing me to write with it. So let me grab one that I actually have broken in. So this does have a little bit of a smudge to it, but again, this is something that I typically will letter and I'm not running my hand over it. But if you're wanting to get into lettering and you are a lefty, that might be something to consider, is the drying time. Let's go ahead and highlight over this and see how we feel about it. This will be interesting. I don't think it's gonna be pretty. Oh, okay, that wasn't as bad. Let's try again at the top. Okay, not too bad. I typically highlight first and then letter on top. So that's how those are looking. The other brush pen that I really wanted to try is I believe this is by Pilot. It's the Touch Sign pen, I believe it's called. This is also a really popular pen to try in this book. However, I have not personally loved it because it's a bit wet in my opinion. Oh, this is gonna get my hand really dirty. Okay, that was not fun. That definitely just smudged, and we'll do a quick highlighter test on here. I didn't do a highlighter test on the other one because they're pretty much also highlighters, but if you're going to letter and then highlight over it, probably not the best idea. So that might be something to consider with the Touch brush pens. So another marker that I've used a few times in my Hobonichi is the Tombow Mono drawing pen. I only have the 0.3 here, but let's give that a try. This is the Mono 03, and let's see how that smudges. Not at all. Let's see how it does with some highlighter over it. Now that I've cleaned my outliner, that works great. So if you need a marker to write with, this is gonna be a great one for you. If you don't prefer gel and you're like absolutely not to the ballpoint, then the Mono drawing pen might be a great option for you. Another marker type pen that I like writing with is the Micron. This one is also a 03. I thought let's be fair and pick 03s for these, but the Micron is one of my favorites. Kind of getting messy down here because we're getting towards the bottom of the page. But let's see how that does as far as smudging goes. No smudge, and I think it's going to be the same when we highlight over. I know a lot of people prefer writing with a marker versus gel for this very reason. So if you kind of want the gel look without the gel smudge, you might want to stick with Micron and the Tombow markers. Great for lefties in my opinion, and great for highlighting over. As you can see from all of these, there's varying degrees of, you know, what we think is going to work with highlighter, what we think is going to smudge versus what doesn't smudge. Okay, so let's flip the page to see if there was any bleed through. Really on the markers is where you're going to see some shadowing, but on none of the pens that were tested was there any bleed through. You're going to get that sort of the bump on the page behind it, which if you've used Hobonichi is what people really love, just that used like broken in look, but you'll see nothing has any sort of bleed through. Shadowing, yes, but that is common for Hobonichi Tomoe River paper. All in all, I think that the new paper performs just as well, if not better. Now you will notice that one of the pens that I am not testing out is fountain pens. Personally, I think that there's a lot of great channels that can provide a little bit of fountain pen feedback. I'm not quite as educated on the fountain pen side of things. I also don't have a lot of inks to test out at this time, so I thought I'd test more of the everyday use pens and markers that seem to be pretty popular in the community. So that is why today I pretty much stuck to just a few ballpoints, some gel pens, and some markers. All right guys, I hope you enjoyed spending some time with me today taking a look at my favorite Hobonichi pens and just kind of seeing how some of the pens work on the new Hobonichi paper. I would love to hear from you down in the comments if there are some other recommendations that you might have to use on the Tomoe River paper, or if there are some other pens that you think I should try, that I should check out. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. If you enjoyed today's video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. Make sure that you subscribe. If you are already subscribed, make sure you click that notification bell so that you know when my videos are posted here on YouTube. As always, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me, and I will see you in my next video. Bye everyone.